So hi guys, I was not going to record. You guys know the drill. I never intend to record until like they're here and they're showing me something that I wish to share with you. So I'm gonna get straight to the point with this message because this message is for all my pale brothers and sisters. So my Celtic people, what you guys call the Norse. So before you guys were Europeans, you guys were Norse people of the earth. So back then, you guys used to be pagans, right? So I understand why this message is coming through, and I hope you too, because whoever needs to hear this, you have been praying for this, and this is the message. So for my Norse brothers and sisters, what I've been shown is this, that you at this given moment are being asked to return to your original culture, to your original way of being, the way your ancestors were. So before Christianity, right, existed, you guys were Norse people, what you guys call pagans, right? You believe in many gods, and all of the gods that you guys believed in, they're actually real life gods. So it's like water, the god of fire, the god of nature, the god of food, the god of the air, the god of the earth. Every single one of those elements was considered a god, or is considered a god by pagans, right? If you take a look at that, it's very similar to what indigenous people believe here in the Americas. Also very similar to what indigenous people believe in the continent of Africa, and is also very similar to what Asians believe. You see, so we were all coexisting together with that one belief, although we had different names to call those gods, right? So what I receive is that you guys need to return to your gods. So I know a lot of Europeans, you guys are so afraid of what pagan is. You really have been brainwashed, conditioned, programmed to believe the lies that being a pagan is some satanic religion, satanic practices. That is not what it is. Being a pagan means being a human that is connected to the earth. You are one with the earth, and everything that you use to live, you do it in harmony with the earth. So that's why in the pagans holidays, you know, like equinox and solstices, they were all very important for the pagans because they were the time, they were the calendar that told the pagans when, you know, when the next season was going to come and how to prepare for it. So those were very important information and wisdom that was practiced by my fellows pagans, you know. And due to that, you guys were able to coexist with one another. So you guys were not Christians, you guys were not Catholics, you guys were pagans. It wasn't until Rome took over and they created Christianity, was actually created by the emperor. So you guys are following a religion that was created by the emperor that was killing its subjects because they didn't obey. So Christianity was man-made, was created by man, and they did use some of the information that are true, but like I say in my previous videos, is actually manipulated into manipulating you and to keep you into obedience, because it teaches you that there's one God and that God is on the other side in heaven, and that he's waiting for you to punish you. And if you don't follow along with all the rules and orders this God has, that you're going to go to hell. So none of our ancestors believed that back then. Our ancestors were very wise, especially you guys, the pagans. I'm going to keep on with you because they want me to focus on you. They want you to return back to that. So my European sisters, you guys were medicine women. So anybody that needed some healing in the village, right? They went to the medicine women. You guys were the seers. So the seers were very important beings in the village because they were able to connect to the ancestors on the other side behind the veil, the ones that you cannot see. And you guys were able to bring forth information, kind of like what I'm doing, not kind of, exactly what I'm doing, bring information from the unseen, because you guys are gifted to be able to connect to the unseen and being able to transmit the information that many other cannot. So you guys were very, very important in the village. When the leaders needed guidance, they came to you. When the village needed healing, they came to you. You're so knowledgeable in herbs. You know exactly what herbs to use for any type of illness. So you were very valuable as women and being medicine women during the times where you guys were pagans before Christianity. The man, oh my gosh, you guys were the land takers. You guys took care of the land. That's why that responsibility was upon men, because you guys are the protector. So the same way you're supposed to protect women, the feminine, that is the connector, the one that connects to the unseen world, she's the one that brings the gods forward into this 3D from the darkness that they are. So you guys were made to protect the feminine energy within the women, and also to explore your own femininity within the masculine. That's the softness of being a masculine. So that all of that was broken when Christianity came, and you guys turn into machistas. That's what we call it in Spanish. It's like a man that is a man child. He has not been loved properly by his own father, and he doesn't have a good image of what a real man is. So that's what's happening around the world today, that there's a lot of man child, and they want to fix that. The ancestors want to help you heal that. That means that if you are a man child, you're not being judged. It's just that we are calling out into that, so then that way you are aware where that behavior comes from. So if you are a man that have like secretly hate for women for whatever reason, this is for you. The reason why you have that is because you were programmed to see women from that perspective, as if you are superior to them, but in reality you're not. Women are gods. We bring forth life. You give us a seed and we create a life, and we bring light from darkness. So you have forgotten that, and your ancestors knew that before Christianity. They value their women, they value their daughters, they value their sisters, they value their grandmothers, because they understood that it was the mothers that used to bring forth the wisdom to guide everyone in the village. So my pale skin brothers and sisters, you being called to look into your culture, but the real one. So for a lot of you that call yourself Americans and are Europeans, you're not Americans, you're Europeans, you're Norse. And there is pride in being Norse. For example, for like my Norse women, my pale skin women, you guys were warriors. When the Norse, right, when the pagans were leading, they were being led by nature, the women were connected to the earth. So they were in the same rhythm of the moon, the same rhythm of the earth, the same rhythm of the fire, the air, and the water. And you brought forth that power in the way you were, in your essence. So yes, we're warriors. We're not just princesses like they want us to believe. No, no, no. Princesses were warriors. So we used to go ahead and defend our land when Christianity started taking over. So we gave the Christians a fight back then, my pagan ancestors, because I have Germanic and French in my blood. So I know my ancestors were doing this, and they wanted me to share that with you. You need to return to your original culture. You need to dig deep into your culture. You're not American. And it's okay not to be not American, because you have your own soil. You have your own ground where your tree originally was planted, your seeds, you see? So yes, you can adopt a new culture, but this is not a culture. Your culture is the culture of your ancestors. So they're asking for you to dig deeper into paganism, to explore that, to understand what it is, because you've been lied to. Paganism is not a satanic religion. It's not. It's literally, pagan means it's people of the earth. So like farmers, people that attended to the earth, people that connected to the earth, people that value the earth, that worship the earth, people that understood that without Mother Earth, we can't be here. So they worship it not in a way of like the way worshiping it's being used today, where it's like you give me something to so then you can receive, so like an exchange. It was not like that. It was more like a gratitude. Worshiping is a gratitude. You give thanks for what the earth gives you, and everything that it's within the earth, we consider it a god. So they want you to go deeper into that and to not allow yourself to be programmed in this way where you reject your ancestors, because you have been rejecting your ancestors for a very long time, my pale skin brothers and sisters. And that's why this is such a disorder. I mean, I'm not going to talk about what's happening in America. We already know what's happening. I don't need to bring it up. You guys can see it in the news. I'm here to give the solution to what's happening. And what they're telling me is that you need to look into your culture. You need to explore what it was to be a pagan when your ancestors, before they were forced, because they were forced. I was shown how Christianity came to be in Europe. And what I can tell you is that Europeans were the first enslaved people. Europeans were the first enslaved people. That's what I was shown by the ancestors. And how they show it to me is like, just a quick reference to that, just to give you an idea, because I don't want the video to be long. How they show it to me is like, so when Rome, right, the emperor in Rome decided that they were going to create Christianity, and it was a very long process for them to do it, because it took years for them to execute this plan, because they needed to have the plan perfectly put in place. So what they did was that they moved into Europe. They went down by Germany. That was the first one they wanted to take, was Germany. So you Germanic people, you were the first one who were converted into Christianity. But you guys gave them a very, very hard fight. Those Germanic people are freaking fighters. Those are the ancestors. And when they went there, they wanted to convert you from being a pagan, excuse me, to being a Christian. And you guys didn't want to. So that's why they used force. So they started, the first thing they did immediately was to disown your women. So they rape your women, your daughters. That's where this whole idea of raping Mother Earth and taking all her resources without regards for her or for the women at all. So that's how it started. So they first started raping your women. So all your Germanic pagan moms were raped, and daughters too. And then they moved into the men, and those men that were protecting the women, you guys were killed. How they did the killing was that they put you in the middle of the village. So they used you as an example, and they beat you, and then they enslaved you, and then they took your property, because the property was owned by women. That's what I was shown. All the properties were owned by women, and all the women's, like I said before, you guys were healers, you guys were seers, you guys were the leaders, pretty much. All the women's were leaders. And the men were like the fortress, the protector of what these feminine energies were bringing forth, because they were the one able to connect to the ancestors that were giving them guidance and information. So men really regarded women back then. They were highly respected by men before Christianity came. So I was shown that the pagans, you guys, the Europeans, were the first one that were enslaved, but it was not enslaved by another culture. You were enslaved by your own people. Leaders, you know, like emperors were the ones, church leaders, they were the one who enslaved you. And then they show me how they pick certain families that were connected to them in order to name them rulers, like kings and queens. And then little by little, they started removing you from your own land. I mean, those of you who call yourself Americans and are Europeans, you know, are white skin, light skin, I ask you, where's your land in Europe? You know, do you have a deed that says like where your ancestors are from, that there's a land? If you do not have land in Europe, you were one of the ones that were, you guys were your land were stolen. You know, you had land. You all did. All your mothers had land before Christianity. So you guys were one of the first one that were enslaved, and your properties were stolen by the oligarchs, what we call the oligarchs now, but the very wealthy. They got themselves together and uh, put a plan to make this happen. And you French guys, French people, you guys were the other ones that they wanted to go after, but you guys were the strongest pagans between you, the Irish, and the Scottish. You guys were like Norse to the bones, let me tell you. And in order to get the French people to convert to Christianity, what they did was they brought this famine. So all of the crops just die. So people didn't have food. And the only way that they can get food for their children was that they had to send their kids to church, to the Christian church, in order to get the food. So they gave them rules. They had to convert to Christianity. They had to get rid of all their pagan artifacts. They needed to get rid of all of that. They needed to also change their names into more Christian, what they consider Christian names. And that's how they got France, in order to do that. And then they brought diseases. So people were dying of disease like fevers, and they didn't have the medicine women to do the healing anymore, because they were being burned, accused of being witches. So that's how Europe was enslaved by your own people. It was not another continent that enslaved you. It was your own people, in order to take away all of your wealth. And with your wealth, and now enslaving you into this new religion that you didn't believe, they use you in order to go ahead and get the other communities that were also pagans, but they have different names because we use different languages. But it's the same foundation: believing in nature, believing in the harmony of being in the same rhythm than Mother Nature is. So, and you can see it, like, for example, in women, we have a clock. Even men have clocks, but women clocks, it's more obvious. It's more it's more intense. You guys get your menstruation cycle. You can see how it's connected to the moon. You can see how your energy flows shift. So that's another conversation, but I just wanted to show you how we are all connected to nature. So then the Spaniards, you guys were converted when Christianity went there and the Inquisition happened. So back then you had a lot of people that were practicing Judaism back then in Spain, and they were living perfectly there, and nobody oppressed them until Christianity came. When the Christians came, they forced all the Jews, or the people that were practicing Judaism, to convert to Christianity, change their names, and if they didn't, they will be killed. And usually the killing was done in the middle of the village, in order to show it as an example for the other villagers that if you're not to obey, that was going to be your fate. That's how it happened. So then now you know why we are in the mess that we are today, because our beginnings, when Christianity started, it didn't start it as a religion of peace like we are being told today. It didn't start it as a religion of God. And if it's like that, because I can tell that there's many gods, that can be a god, right? A human that perhaps believed he was the god, and decided that he, as the god, was more important than the other gods, which is all of us, and decided that he was going to take everything from us in order to own it all on their own. So I know a lot of Christians, you guys might be challenged by this. However, I must tell you the truth. Christianity and Catholicism, not even Islam was started with a sense of peace. It was mostly started with inquisitions. It started by colonizations. For those of you who have indigenous from this land in Africa, you guys are going to know that when they went to you in your land, they came with the sword and the Bible. So you can't believe that a religion is from God when it comes with the intention of killing you if you don't convert. God is very, very loving, very open. God, the energy of God, that's the reason why God gave us free will. If God wanted us to overpower us, if God wanted to dominate us, if God wanted to control us, God would not have given us free will. God would have created us to be just robots. I can code you and you do that. But that's not what God made us to be. God gave us free will. So the God that you guys have been talked about, it's not the God. And I know you guys are going to be mad, but that's the truth. You guys have been following a false God. The real God is in everything that we do. I mean, Jesus spoke to you about it. Jesus was not even a Christian. The same emperor killed Jesus, and you guys are following a religion that was created by them. It's like, let's imagine, for example, it's like somebody killing your family, right? And then they create a new truth, right? And then you're going to believe them. You're not going to believe them. They kill your family. Why would you believe them, right? So this is the same scenario. So for my Europeans, you guys call yourself Europeans now, but I like to call you Norse. So sexy. I like to call you guys Norse. And it's you being asked. Your ancestors are calling you. Your ancestors are calling you back home. They want you to ground yourself. You have not been grounded for a long time. Those of you who are Europeans and call yourself Americans, you guys have not been grounded for a long time. Think about the last time you went to touch the land where your ancestors are from. You literally are a tree that got like a seed that got planted on another land, and that land doesn't have the same chemistry, doesn't have the same code than the land where you come from. So you're going to be depleted energetically. You're going to be depleted from the earth because the land where you got planted is not the land where your ancestors came from. That doesn't mean that you cannot migrate. That doesn't mean that you can move around. What it means is here in your mind, you must know that. You must be aware of that. But if you're disconnected from that information, if you're disconnected from the truth, then you will never grow to be the truth yourself. You will always be living a lie. And that's what's happening right now. And that creates a lot of chaos in all of us, because then you are chaotic in your mind, and then you bring that chaos to other people. I've been shown something which I want to share with you. They showed me a video, and it was like this lady. She was in a gas station, and you can tell she's European. I know she's German because I can scan her. And she was telling this other women, she looked indigenous. She looked like she might be, from this lands here. And she was telling the other lady to go back where she come from. She's like, go back to your country. And then the indigenous lady is saying, but this is my country. I'm from here. And then she goes, you don't talk to me like that. You go back to your country. This is America. This is my land. This is my ancestors' land. But I'm looking at the lady, and she's European. And it's like, lady, you're lying to yourself. This is not your ancestors' land. You know that for a fact. You are a Norse. You come from that side of the woods, on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. You see, so because she lives in that lie, she lives in chaos inside of her. The reason why she's attacking that lady is because deep down inside of her, she is unsure about who she is. So that's why she's telling the other lady, go back to your country. Why? Because she is unsure where she's from. So she's telling the other lady, go back to your country. But remember that when you're speaking in a mirror. You're speaking to yourself. So that lady the entire time was speaking to herself, go back to your country. You see, so that chaos that lady is living because she's disconnected from her root, where she come from, where her ancestors come from. Now she brings that chaos into this other woman, which she happens to be the descendants of the ancestors that are from this land, okay? So that's how we bring chaos to each other. So in order to heal this situation that's happening, where people feel very uncomfortable with like brown-skinned people, and that doesn't mean it's all the Norse people, it's not all the Europeans, it's a lot. I've seen it myself. It's because they're insecure. The reason why, if you are this person that say that to somebody else and you believe that they need to go back to their country because they're not from here, then that is for you to understand that. The reason why you feel threatened, the reason why, excuse me, you feel that way and you feel like you have to say that is because you're insecure. You don't know where you come from. So now you're like insecure, like who are these people? Because you're only going to be mirroring back to each other exactly how you feel. So that person becomes a threat because inside of you, you know, well known that you don't know where you come from. Because why? Because you disconnected from your mothers. You disconnected from the truth. You disconnected from your ancestors. And now you're here in this country at what we call the Americas, right? This is North America, the United States, because the Americas are big. Now you're here and you want to possess this place, but in reality, you know this is not your place. So your ancestors are asking that in order to heal that part of you, you need to go and find out where your ancestors come from. You need to do an investigation, and it's pretty fun. I've done it myself, and I love it. I am multicultural. I have so many layers, baby. I'm better than a cake. So they're asking for you to go and explore that. You need to go find out where your mothers come from and go visit. Go touch the land. Go feel the land. Go connect with the land. And when you do that, that's going to bring you peace into your heart. You're going to become more curious about like, oh, what language they spoke. What did they believe in? What did they practice? And they want you to go far. They want you to go further before Christianity started, because they're saying that that's the real them. They were not Christians, and they're never going to be Christians. That's what they say. They know the truth, and they believe in nature, because that is what God is. That's where the food comes from. That's where the water comes from. That's where the air comes from. God is feeding you every day, and you're missing it because you have been taught that there's a God in the sky, and only when you die, you're going to be allowed to go there. And if you were naughty or nice, they're going to send you to hell. Your ancestors want you to know that that's not true. That's not how it works. Okay, so thank you very much. That was the message for you guys today. This is for my Norse brothers and sisters. You being asked to explore your religion. It's not a religion. They keep saying that. It's a culture. It's a practice, because you're not going there just on Sunday. You're living it. You see, for example, like Christianity, Catholics, Muslims. Muslims are more. A lot of Muslims are more committed to their belief than a lot of Christians, for example, because the Muslims, they do prayers every morning at 5 a.m. There's this horn that goes off at 5 a.m. to wake up these people so they can go and pray. Christians, you guys go like on Wednesday, and you guys go there because you have friends there, and then you go on Sunday. This, what they're showing me, this is not a religion. This is not something that you practice just on Sunday or on Wednesday. No. This is life. This is the way of life, which again keeps coming back, the way of life. This is the way of life. It's like a way of life, and it's living in this harmony with everything. Yourself, harmony within yourself, because you know who you are, you know where you come from. Harmony with nature, because you respect her. You understand that because of nature, we're able to be here. She is our mother. She is our grandmother. And we, right, embellish that. We embody the energy of that feminine within ourselves, and we respect that version of us as well, which for men, you respect women because of that as well, because you understand. And the ancestors want you to know that, because once you do that, then there's going to be harmony with everything else. So you being called, my pagans, return to paganism. Learn. Don't let yourself be fooled, because the wolf has many tricks, and he knows you very well, and he knows how your brain works. I'm telling you, I studied this, and he's a genius. He's a genius. And it's a he. I'm saying it. It's a he. I don't need to say it. I don't need to give you names, but it's a he. And it knows you very well. And it uses all of that knowledge in order to manipulate you. So in order for you not to be manipulated, the antivirus to this virus is that you need to return home. You need to know who you are. And when I say return home, I'm not telling you to go back to Europe. Like, oh, go back to Europe. No, return home. Because home is the heart, where your ancestors come from. The code that they have given to you in your DNA, that is home. So in order to activate that, you have to go visit the country, right? The place where your ancestors came from, where they come from, where that tree and the seed was planted. You need to go there. And when you go there, energetically, you get activated. And when that happens, then you're going to see how many changes you're going to have in your life. You're going to see how you're going to become more connected to nature. You're going to change completely. So that's what you're being asked to do for 2026. So for this year, to the closing, what you're being asked is what I would suggest you do, like I did it, is that you grab a piece of paper, grab a white candle, grab a glass of water. I always do this. You want to call the ancestors? I'm going to teach you. This might take you time because depending on how many layers of illusions you have, it might take you more time to be able to see them or even to hear them. But we have to start somewhere. So this is the trick you're gonna do. You're going to grab a white candle. Today is Thursday. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put this video tonight, but let me see. The best day to do it, to get in connection with the ancestors, you want to do it during the day that you have either Mercury in place, because Mercury is the planet of communication. So the portals are very, very intense during this time when Mercury is in place. Jupiter, because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter can expand portals really fast. It's like when I see Jupiter, it's like a black hole. So you can go in and you can literally land in another place very, very fast. So that's a very great way to travel through time in a faster speed of light. So I would do Wednesday, Thursday, but it also need to take into consideration your birth chart. So for example, if you are an air sign, use Wednesday, Thursday. You can use Mondays too. If you are a fire sign, you want to use Tuesday. Sunday is amazing for you. And Friday, Friday depending on where Venus is. If you are an earth sign, you want to be with the moon. You want to do the moon because the moon actually controls the water. She's not only controlling the water, but she also controls the earth. The earth do move a lot. When I say earth, I don't mean the planet, I mean the soil. Moves a lot when the water is also rising during the phases of the moon. So Monday is a great day, and also Friday. Saturdays is very tricky because Saturday is the reason why a lot of the ancestors use it to rest, because during that time you want to connect with them, but in an individual way. So you don't want to call for the ancestors on Saturday, okay? If they want you, they'll come to you, but you don't call for them on Saturdays, okay? So I would completely omit using Saturdays for that. Use Saturday to rest, to recharge your energy. That's why in a lot of in Judaism, they use Saturday Sabbath to rest. Well, all of us did it before. It was just for Jewish people. We all did it. That was the culture. That was the way. So you're gonna do that on those days. You're gonna grab a white candle, and then you're gonna have a glass of water. Make sure it is crystal or something natural, no plastic. And you're going to grab a piece of paper, and you're going to write your intention, because you're connecting with your ancestors. And the reason why you're doing that is because you want to charge yourself with their energy, even if you're far away from where your motherland is, okay? So you want to call them in to hear this land. And you will be asked that you will have to go in charge. So whenever you book a plane ticket to go to that place in Europe, you have to do the homework. You got to go there. I'm telling you, do it, and you're going to talk to me, and you're going to tell me how life is after that. Then you're going to make your intention in your paper that you're going to do that for next year. And then after that, you wrap it around. You can use salt with it. Sprinkle some salt on top of it. I use salt because I like to do my protections around everything, because there's a lot of energies around. So salt to protect the intention. And then after that, you set it in place, put it under your pillow overnight. And then the third night, you just burn it. The candle should be low by then. Burn it. And then clean your hands with the water. And that immediately opens the opportunity for these ancestors to know that you want to make contact with them. Because the ancestors, you have free will. If you don't let them know that you want to have contact with them, they're not gonna come. If they come, then you're not gonna receive them, because you're not gonna know. But now you're making the intention that you want to make that connection. And when you make that connection, they get really happy and they come. They will come. Even if you can feel them, because you have a lot of, like I said, illusions, shield in your energetic field, with time, it's going to go off and off and off and off. And then you're going to feel them so close to you. What I would recommend for you, for my pale skin brothers and sisters from the north, is to go out to nature. So for example, the beach will not be a good place for you. Why? because you should, unless you were like your ancestors come from an area that there were salt water around, okay? But usually for Norse, you usually get the mountains a lot. It's very, very grounding for you. And it's very, what is it called? It has a magnetic field that is very strong to activate your field. So I would suggest you go out, and this is funny, go hug a tree. And by doing that, you're going to feel like how nature is going to start cleaning your energetic field. And the more nature cleans it, the more connected you start connecting with your ancestors. So there is my recording for the day. Thank you very much for my Norse, and for those of you who consider yourself Christians, think about it. Think about it. Your ancestors were not Christians. Before that, it was not Christian. And the only reason why you're Christian today is because your ancestors were forced. There were so many ancestors that were killed. Their land were stolen by the same people that sold you that religion. They didn't sell it to you. You had no option. You had no choice. You had no choice. Like, you couldn't say like, oh no, I don't want this. No, like, you got killed. You got killed. And they terrorized your community by raping your women. Yeah, that was the way to disown your community, because they know that women holds the power, and that with the women, the men can connect. You see? So what they did was, they call it tainted. They tainted your women by raping them. That's why in today's society, a lot of those terrorists, if you see like Uganda, and a lot of those, a lot is done now in Africa, which is crazy, because it's crazy that they're using the technique that the oppressor used on them. Now they're using it on their own people. You see how we just keep going around and making the same mistakes over and over? So they use that a lot in Uganda, where they will rape the women in order to send their message of threat. So women, you are the force that carries this world forward. Literally, you are the force that carries this world forward. Man, you are the protector, right? You are the protector that makes it possible for the women to bring that force forward into this world. And what Christianity did, it put you against us. It made you believe that you are superior to us. It brainwashed you. It programmed you into believing that you are superior to us and that we are your property. And that's what caused the chaos in the world. So you guys are being called. Thank you. I am going to continue with my assignment, what I was doing. And thank you. And let me know what you think. Let me know your opinion. Christians, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, because everything that I said is the truth. Christianity is a famous religion today because it came through force, not by choice. It was not the choice of our ancestors to become Christians. They were forced. So literally the same thing that they did to the indigenous people here, they did it to you first, Europeans. I don't like to call you Europeans because you were not Europeans. It was not Europe. Like every country was an empire back then. Every country, it was an empire. So, and within the country, there were other empires for every community, so you were not one. You were all individually yourself, and you all carry yourself very well, following those principles that actually lives brightly within the community of the pagans. I found a community of pagans in Europe. There's a lot of pagans in where, in England, a lot. So I can't wait to go there and visit them. I want to hear from the elders there. There's still some elders there. So if you guys are from England, from Northern Ireland, from Scotland, go find them, because they're still alive. And the more we connect with them, the more information we can get directly from them, because they lived it. They still carry the wisdom within them. So go visit them. Don't be afraid. Nords, don't be afraid. You guys are warriors. You just have to remember who you are. Okay? Love you. Thank you. Ciao.